Hey guys, my name is Ben Easley, and I'm the Director of Product Strategy and Analytics here at Mogo Arts and Mogo Interactive. Today I wanted to show you how to use an awesome new product that Google released earlier this year that's called Data Studio. Data Studio can be used to build custom dashboards and connect to all kinds of custom data sources, including Google Analytics. What I love most about Data Studio is that it's super intuitive and easy to use, and best of all, it's totally free. So why don't you join me, and I'm going to show you how to connect to a data source and how to begin building your own custom dashboard today. Okay, welcome back. So today we're going to show you how to create your first custom dashboard in Google's Data Studio by connecting to a data source in Google Analytics. So some of you may have experience trying to create custom dashboards in Google Analytics. Personally, I wasn't a big fan of the custom dashboards tool inside of Google Analytics just because it was so limited, and just the design aesthetics of it were certainly limiting too. So the first thing that you need to do is you're going to need to be logged into a Google account that is connected to a Google Analytics account. So if you have a Gmail or professional work email, you do need to use the email that does have at least view access to a Google Analytics account. So once you are logged in, you're going to go to google.com/analytics, and then this is going to bring you to this page. And you'll go to sign in, and you're given a number of options, and you'll see down here at the bottom, we're going to click on Data Studio. And the first thing that I wanted to call out are these really awesome templates that Google has provided. So you can actually copy these and use these on your own. They're really pretty. In some instances, I'm not sure they necessarily show all the data that I would want to look at. But here's an example of a e-commerce PPC dashboard for search. Pretty cool looking. You can copy all these. See use template. Here's another one that they created for YouTube. Pretty awesome stuff, right? And then here's one that we created for one of our own clients, and it actually has 5 different pages. I'm just going to show you the cover page right now. This is a top level view. We do have other pages within this dashboard that include looking at awareness, branding and engagement, e-commerce and events, and then a diagnostics dashboard as well. So the first thing that you're going to need to do before you start building a dashboard is you actually need to go to the data sources. We need to have some data that's going to power your dashboard. And I would say the most common data source is probably going to be Google Analytics, but as you'll see, so we click a new data source, and we can see these are all of the available data sources. They look like they're all sample data. We're going to click this plus down here. And we have all of these different connector types. They're all Google products. I would say the most common one that I tend to use is Google Analytics and Google Sheets. And the reason that I use Google Sheets is that there are a number of plugins for Google Sheets. There's one that will allow you to build custom Google Analytics queries and formats that you may not necessarily be able to get directly through the Google Analytics API. If you use a product like Supermetrics, you can download data from places like Bing, Facebook Ads, Facebook Insights, Twitter. So you can pull all of that into a Google Sheet, and because you can pull that into a Google Sheet, you can then connect it in here. But today we're going to focus on Google Analytics. So remember I said that you need to have access to the Google Analytics account that you want to build a custom dashboard for. And I actually have access to a bunch of them. But I want to do we'll do one for Mogo Arts today. And I'm just going to do the standard view in here. So this is the property and this is the view. So however many views you have set up under that property, that's how many are going to show up in here. And then once I select that, I'm going to hit connect. And then up here, you do have the ability to rewrite that if you want. So I'm just going to call it GA Mogo Arts main view. Boom. So I believe you can add as many data sources as you would like in there. So if you have access to multiple accounts or you want to create dashboards off of multiple views, you can certainly do that. From right here, you can go straight to create a report. I'm actually going to bring us back a level and go back to the home page. And so you can see we're in data sources right now. We're going to flip back up to reports. And these are all my reports that I have right now. Now it is important to note, because you are using the free version, that you can only be the owner on 5 of these accounts. Now you can certainly get creative with copying and sharing people, so you can kind of limit that 5. Maybe you make yourself the owner of 5. You have a coworker, you can make the owner of 5 more dashboards to them, have them share you. So there's some creative ways if you want to create multiple dashboards in here. And keep in mind that you can add multiple pages to a dashboard as well, and they can use, you don't have to use a single data source within a dashboard. So we're going to hit create a new report. And the first thing it's going to ask us is, what do we want to set the default data source to be? And I'm just going to create one from the data source that we just connected. I'm going to add it to the report. So now that's going to be my default data source that it's going to rely on. Now you can create multiple visualizations and widgets that use data from different data sources. So just because you selected that at the page level doesn't mean you can't use another source of data like Facebook or something like that. The one thing you can't do, unfortunately, is you can't have a single graph that uses data from 2 different sources like you could in something like Tableau. So if we're looking at sessions for Google Analytics and a line graph, you can only look at Google Analytics data in there. You can't bring in Facebook. You'd have to build a completely separate widget. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a date filter. And you can see how easy this is up here. You have all of these different little icons up here, and we can see as we hover over them, they tell you what they are, and they're really basic and easy to use. So we select a date range, and that's in there, but the other things that we can do is we can affect the style. So much like you can affect style in PowerPoint or Word, we can also do it in here. We can do that. Why don't we make this black instead? I'm going to make that a little bit lighter, and I'm going to surround it with a black box. We'll make it kind of thick, and I'm actually going to make this rounded as well. There you go. So this is going to allow us to select a particular date range when we toggle off the edit mode. So right now it opens you up by default an edit that allows you to kind of do the design work. So now we have a date calendar, or a date filter that we can utilize, but we're not looking at any data. So why don't we bring in some data? I'm just going to build a line chart in here, and you can see by default it is going to select some things in here. So it looks like it selected the date and the sessions. Well, you know what? We'll stick with sessions, but how about we also go with let's see, average session duration. Why don't we take a look at that as well? So now we have both of those overlaid in this particular widget here, and you can see we can drag and drop it wherever we want. We have a nice grid background to see wherever we want to drop it. And again, you can come in here and you can customize the layout of what these look like. Maybe I don't like that red color, I'm going to make it orange instead. We can add things like the background, maybe let's see here, maybe we'll make it gray, and we'll add a border of black, and we'll make it a little bit thicker. So pretty easy to come in here right away and start creating stuff. And now, as we see, I'm gonna show you how this filter works. So we don't have a date range selected. We can go, let's go last 7 days, and pay attention to this over here. Boom. Very, very easy to use. So I'm going to show you how to add some other filters in here. Maybe we want to add a filter. So we're going to go to the filter control. We're going to add a new one right here. And interesting. So that's looking at source. Let's see, what can I pick in here? Let's do device. We'll do device category. That's always a good one to look at. And let's see, we'll add a background, we'll make it gray, and we'll circle that. I mean, if I was to build a real dashboard, I would have a color scheme that I would adhere to, but for the sake of building this right now, I just wanted to show you kind of what is possible. So great. We have 3 different device categories that we can select from now. Why don't we add some other widgets in here? I'm going to add a table. And maybe in this, I'm going to go landing page. So see what the top landing pages are. Maybe I want to look at bounce rate too. So not just how many people reach that page, but what is the bounce rate? I'm gonna pretty this up. I really like things to have borders when I look at it. Just kind of not having a border there bugs me. At least we have something there. Okay. And you can also, let's see, we'll add a little bit of color to the background. There we go. Perfect. And why don't we add, I'm going to add, let's see. We'll add this guy in here too, just to show you everything that can be done. And awesome. So now down to the city level. Really, really cool stuff. And maybe we will we'll add a pie chart as well. And with this one, we'll show what the not going to do source. God, that's not a very pretty pie chart. Usually when you're using a pie chart, you want to use something that maybe has 4 to 5 categories max. At that point, with something like this, you probably want to consider using a different type of visualization. But for something like this, looking at the different devices, pie chart is pretty interesting. And you can come in here and change the different colors. You can change the amount of slices that you show. We can change the text. We can change it all to one color, as we can see here. I'm going to give it a nice, I'll give it a gray outline this time. And we'll make it kind of thick, and we'll round those borders too. Other things that you can do in case you don't like the layout in some of these things, you can control what shows in here, like these texts in here. You can, if you decide, you have a text box, so you can build things that way. You want to kind of pretty things up. This is a text box. What we can do there is we can then start to look at this. We can say, oh, hey, let's create a blue background, and let's that's really hard to read, right? So what I want to do is, well, hey, I am not sure what is going on here. So we got Roboto, like that. So that worked. There we go. Okay. And we'll bring it in the middle. You can underline it, you can change your text, you can do all kinds of things. Maybe we'll make that a little bit bigger. But you can then begin to, you know, do things like you can begin to do things to kind of pretty up your dashboard so it begins to look something more like this. You know, we look at these individual things. People are using text editors and things like that, or the text box, to make this pretty and presentable looking. So you do have to customize it a little bit yourself. I did want to show you have the ability to set report and theme settings or current page settings. So, you know, what we can do here is we can say, or maybe you like black, I don't know. But you do have the ability to come in here and essentially control the colors and everything in here as well. So that is pretty much it. You know, it is a really intuitive and easy tool to use. I'm confident if you are familiar with your Google Analytics data and you spend an hour in here, you will be pretty astounded with what you're able to build within an hour's time. And you know, don't be scared to go and look at these templates that are shared with you to have some ideas of how you could build this on your own. Or perhaps you can just use that template to plug in your own data. There's a lot of really great templates floating around right now. And so, you know, some other things to be aware of. You'll obviously want to save your report. So my first dashboard. And then, as I mentioned, you can add additional pages in here. And so you probably want to name these pages too. So I don't know what we want to call this. Executive overview. Then we could rename page 2 something else as well. And because it is a Google product, you can very easily share this with people. So I could go in here and I could share with my coworkers. We'll say and you know, just like Google Docs, they can edit it or view it. Usually you're probably going to want to set it to view mode. But I'm going to say, hey, Sarah, check out this awesome dashboard. Really not that awesome, but you know, if that's your first attempt, that is a pretty good start. Check out this awesome dashboard that I created for today's video blog. And then she'll get a message by way of her email. She'll get a link and she can view this dashboard as well. And then as you make edits, you know, those edits will be reflected when Sarah you know, logs in to check her dashboard. And because you're connecting directly into Google's API for Google Analytics, all of this data is going to stay completely up to date. So I also mentioned that you could plug into Google Sheets. The reports that I use in Google Sheets do allow you to refresh, you know, do a scheduled refresh every day. So as long as you're doing that, you can ensure that your data is up to date as well. So I hope you enjoy this awesome tool. I love it a lot. We're using it so much, and I'm hoping that Google will allow us to have more than 5 dashboards, because that certainly seems a little bit limiting given how powerful this dashboard is.